How's it going, guys? Still June 20th, 1:33 p.m. here on the East Coast. So, on the last video, I mentioned embracing the suck and envisioning your future in order to get to where you want to go. So, the challenge that I started yesterday is I want to get more serious about the weight loss, and I'm trying to figure out ways to do it. And I thought that fasting might be the best way, a water fast. And I tried to do it yesterday, and it really put my body through some torture. And although I was coming up on I think I completed 24 hours of the water fast, I just wasn't feeling well. Like my head was hurting, everything was hurting, and I know that that's just my body detoxifying itself after reading up on it. But I figured they said to have the most success is to start in some sort of chronological order to get you there. So, like anything, if you're going to wean yourself off something such as food, or wean yourself lower um, lower intakes of that, to do it in incremental steps, so you have a higher success rate. I thought that I'd be able to do it almost cold turkey, just be able to eliminate food for a certain amount of time, and I had done that to a certain extent, but it had started to make my body feel not so well. So the new adjustment that I had made, and the title of this video is Take on New Challenges, by the way, but the new adjustment I had made was to eat one meal a day, and maybe do a meal replacement shake. I just kind of decided on that this morning. Kind of the most beneficial ways to do intermittent fasting, because I was doing intermittent fasting, but I did find myself eating more so out of pity with people around me, which essentially caused my caloric intake to be higher. So I noticed I kind of hit a plateau. I have a new goal weight of 180, but obviously I'm going to try to get to 190 first, 185, and then down on to 180. So I'm currently 192 as of yesterday, and I did weigh in at 192 this morning. So I'm going to try a couple different things, kind of let you guys know what works. I tried the just giving up food altogether and just going to water, but it was a shock to my body. So after reading up on it and doing some research and being a little bit more prepared now, I decided to have one meal a day, kind of adopting this warrior diet mentality, warrior fasting mentality. Um, and this is supposed to tie into our roots, per se, saying that during the day we would, back when we used to like hunt and gather food during the day, we would snack on fruits and vegetables and whatnot, and then at night we'd have one meal, one big meal, to carry us over into the evening, and provide us with some fuel to be able to, like, it puts you in a comfort phase to be able to go to sleep and have a good night's rest. So there's a certain amount of reasons I decided to go with the one meal. I tried the fasting window, and it just didn't work as well as I thought it would for me. And I noticed that I eat a majority of my meals in the evening, whether it's with my family, at work, it's always in the evening. So to me, it'd be easier to cater to that style. When I tried the other window of having an 8-hour eating window, I just noted my 8-hour eating window would change frequently. I would always try and eat within that window, but sometimes it didn't happen. So my new way is to be, I was eating 2 to 3 meals a day. Now I'm dialing it back to one meal a day with maybe some small, what I'm planning on doing is a protein shake after I work out, to make sure that my body gets the proteins that it needs, and that's a low calorie shake, and then as well as doing one meal with my family or at work on the days that I work. And I was also concerned about energy. Obviously, without food, you have a severe lack of energy. So I didn't want to be caught without energy going into the weekend. So I wanted to kind of prepare myself for that. So having some sort of food in your system to do that, to replenish that energy, I think is going to be essential. So I know I may seem like I'm all over the place here, but I'll sum it up for you guys here shortly. Um, so the new challenge is going to be obviously to lose weight, kind of figure out what works well for my body type. Obviously, what works well for me won't necessarily work well for everybody, but I can tell you guys what I've done so far, and then the next steps I'm going to take ahead to see if that would work well for me. So, like I said, what I was doing was trying to eat during an 8-hour window. I noticed my window was kind of all over the place. I didn't have a window to where I could necessarily stick to religiously. So it put my 2 meals all over the place, which wouldn't allow me a proper fasting period. So what I've decided to do instead is do a meal replacement shake that doesn't have necessarily the same amount of calories of a meal, so it will be less heavy and something I'd be able to digest just as easily. So that would be a protein shake after I work out sometime um, during the midday, so around lunchtime, give or take a couple hours. And then the second meal, which will be my larger, more described as a regular type of meal, is going to take place in the evening, sometime in the evening. So that'll be my actual meal. The other one will be like a meal replacement, but my meal replacement is like 130 calories, so it's I don't even know if you would consider it a meal replacement. Something more like a very lightweight shake. But the back end meal will be pretty substantial. So that one may approach 1,000 calories, maybe 1,500 calories. I'm talking about a decent sized meal. But even taking into consideration that decent sized meal, let's say you're at 2,000 calories, you're still going to be able to burn more than that. And eating a 2,000 calorie meal, even upwards of 2,500, can be pretty tough to do unless you're into super junk foods and eating fast food all the time. Doing 2,000 or 2,500 calories in one sitting is pretty tough to do. So I figured I'd try to adopt this new mentality and this new fasting approach. And it's like I said, it's best in line with the warrior diet where they eat 1 meal a day to kind of put them into more of a comfort phase for to being able to sleep, get better rest. The other reason I agree with this method, it kind of makes sense to me, is believe it or not, you burn the most calories when you're sleeping. And I've shared this a couple different times, but you do burn the most calories when you're sleeping. So if you intake the most calories before you go to sleep, granted those calories become stagnant because you're not moving, but you still burn the most calories when you're sleeping. So this to me makes a lot of different sense, because if you were trying to even if you work out a lot, and I'm talking about like 2 to 3 hours a day, which is substantially more than people tend to work out, you're still not going to burn anywhere near the amount of calories that you burn when you're sleeping. So to me, like I said, the reason I adopted this one to eat before I go to bed or in the evening, my large meal, is because we do burn the most calories before we go to sleep. I see a couple different benefits from this. One, I'll be able to sleep better because I'm full. Two, I'm going to be able to burn more calories off of sleep alone than I would exercising. And sometimes people have it twisted that, oh, I'll go have a good exercise, or eat before I go exercise, or eat after I exercise for the calories that I've worked off, or the calories that I'm about to work off. But in reality, um, to me, you won't burn what you work off unless you eat a small meal and work out still substantially to burn off the amount of calories that you burn. And if you've ever tried to count the calories you burn while you're working out, it's never in comparison to the food you either ate or are about to eat. It's just really tough to do so. And I know it may seem counterproductive to burn the most calories when you're sleeping, but do your own fair share of research. I've had metabolic rate testing done on me and know that that's when I burn the most. And that's kind of when I got educated on, your metabolic resting rate and how that affects your ability to lose weight and gain weight. So, but you guys can do your own research and find a diet that best applies to you. But I'm going to be sharing with you the diet that I think would best apply to me. And the reasons why I'm choosing this diet, not just on a whim, but with some research that I've done on my own. So that'll be the new diet that I'm adopting. I don't want to run short on protein. I'm afraid of losing muscle mass, so I will continue my protein shake. Like I said, I actually stopped that protein shake for a while, but I'm going to be starting it today. After my workout, I will be taking protein so my muscles can do what they need to do with that protein, and so the synthesis takes place that needs to happen, and my muscles aren't being depleted because I'll be at a severe calorie deficit. And when you get into that situation, majority of the time your body will pull the fat that's stored, but once it runs out of that, it starts to, pull the muscle that's there, that's been built upon, and that's not something that I want to happen. A good way to counteract that is to have the proper amount of protein that you should take in on a daily basis. And granted, my dinners will be heavy on the protein side. I always be very heavy on the protein side, so I'm not too concerned about that. But the water-only fast would have been, I would have lost weight a lot quicker, but the success rate with keeping the weight off is substantially lower than doing an intermittent fasting diet. So those are the reasons I chose this diet. Those are the instruments I'm going to be implementing here in the near future, starting today. And I'll let you guys know how it goes, if it helps me meet the milestones that I'm looking to meet. Again, my next goal was going to be 190, so let's see how many days it takes me to get there using this new diet regimen. And again, you can kind of suit intermittent fasting into your world as best as you can. There's a lot of different popular diets out there, and you can try to identify with one that just works into your schedule. Some good information I was reading today is to not force yourself to do an intermittent fasting diet, because then it doesn't work, but to find one that works with you. And this is one that I found out that works with me. I thought the what do they call it, the 8 and 16 fasting diet, which is one that I was currently on, would be an easy one to implement, but you really have to stick within the timelines to make the progress, and I couldn't, so I didn't. So I'm going to be trying something different. It would be a lot, for me, seems a lot easier, such as eating only one meal per day. So you're going through let's say a 22 to 24 hour window, depending on how soon you eat the next day. And if your dinner times vary, but if you're going through this fasting period, you're going to be granted to lose weight and keep it off. Plus, you're getting your body used to only eating one meal a day. But I like the ideologies of where it's warrior-like. I like the history of the diet, and I like the easiness and effectiveness of it. There's been a lot of good proof that comes out of fasting, and to me, it just makes my life a little bit simpler. And protein shake for lunch after my workout seems to go, I can make it on the run, and I can take it with me if I don't get a chance to eat, because I do find myself very busy during the day, and during the back half of the day when I'm looking to relax and calm down is when I will be eating my dinner. And I'll tell you what, I tried it yesterday, but I didn't do a meal replacement, so I was really hurting by the time dinner came around, and I ate dinner, and I just felt incredibly better afterwards. And I didn't even explode and do a butt ton of calories. I probably came in well under 2,000. But if you think of your daily limits, depending on the weights you're trying to get to, and there's all sorts of calculators where you guys can figure out where your current weight is at, how many calories you have to take in to maintain that weight, and how many calories you have to take in to burn the weight. So there's a lot of different help out there, a lot of different stuff that will get you guys going. But these are the steps that I'm taking, the roads that I'm going to take, and like I said, the instruments I'm going to be implementing to get myself to where I want to be. And I'll keep you guys updated as to the progress. So sorry this one ran a little bit longer, but I believe there's a lot of good information in it. I appreciate you guys watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.